Hey everybody, this is Peng's Picks. Davis, also known as Davis Peng, at Fantasy Six Pack and writer for Stochastic. Here with me is co-host Hope Bishop. You may know her as PGA champion and the newest fantasy playoff champion from 2022. Hope, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Davis. I'm really excited to start the show with you. I think we talk basketball basically every day in all of our various chats and everything like that. So it's good to kind of get our ideas out there and talk to people and, have some fun doing the show.
It's good. I guess I know we started talking last year during the off season, and man, that conversation went from one message to just a book of writing at this point, and we
Right?
talked about every topic we could, strategies, all the contests, even payouts, and kept track all year. And and a group of friends of ours that we also have joined in on. So I'm kind of glad that we finally started this and that we're going to be able to have an open conversation with everybody, and then we'll be good to go. So as everyone saw in our thumbnail, one of the things that we're going to talk about this week is just the huge QB change, something that we haven't had since ever, right? I've been playing fantasy football for at least 10 plus years, and I've never seen three quarterbacks go in the first two rounds, and let alone be drafted super early. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's crazy. Been playing fantasy football for such a long time, and it's new. Late round quarterback has always been the strategy. It takes me back to a story. The very first year I ever played fantasy football, I didn't know anything about it. I think I was in sixth grade. My friends invited me to a league. I took Tom Brady number one, was clowned. I had no clue what I was doing. Again, middle schooler. I was like, oh, he scores the most points. He should be the best pick, right? So it's kind of coming full circle here a little bit, not quite to that extreme. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a decision point in these drafts early now, because there is some good value later in the draft. But what are you doing right now with the early quarterbacks?
I mean, right now, I'm not openly taking them, but I have turned the corner to try to have some, right? In best ball, we always want to have some of these guys versus flat zero. Especially at talented players, right? Some of the guys I made fun of last year, I'm like, MVS or something that I didn't take a ton of, but I cannot deny that Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes are elite quarterbacks in fantasy. You got to have them. And am I going to have a ton? Probably not. I'll probably about 15% in total with the combination of the three, leaning on Josh Allen and leaning a little bit more on Jalen Hurts. I mean, who are you taking out of those three if you had to pick one?
Yeah, it's Jalen Hurts for me. I love the rushing upside. He's just loaded with weapons. And they're going to be really good again next year. They have great O-line. No real questions overall about that offense. I guess Jason Kelce could retire. I'm not trying to start any rumors, but you could see that this offseason. But it would be Jalen Hurts for me, and probably Josh Allen second. I know we were kind of talking before the show. The two of the rushing upside feel safer. But again, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, he has just an incredible season, and his weapons outside of Travis Kelce were pretty terrible. And so, like you said, about having a portfolio of teams, me and you are going to be some, people who do hundreds upon hundreds of drafts, this off season. And so, and I'm more of a balanced exposure player. I'm not full 8% everywhere. I'll have my 20, my 25% guys and my 0% guys, but I'm gonna have some of these guys in my portfolio. I think it's bad not to.
Can you pull up the comment? We had a comment earlier from Breeding Fantasy Football, and he made a good point on some of these that I think I want to hammer on.
Yeah.
So he says, I'll share my take to start it off. QBs are moved up this year because some best ball minds feel the need to anchor it early for comfort. Then again, you may need second and third, 2 to 3 to advance to finals. You never know. And his choice actually agrees with you. He says, I would get the second round quarterback of the big bird with the potential for the softest schedule. He believes it's the Chiefs. I'm meaning Josh Allen. As a Dolphins fan, I can tell you that we have a pretty crappy defense. And I'm sure, as Hope would tell you, as a Patriots fan, that Josh Allen has exposed them quite a bit. It could be kind of a tough. I mean, that's how I feel as a Dolphins fan. We have a very bad secondary outside of Brandon Jones and Javon Holland. So I'm just leaning more that way. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I still have scars from when Josh Allen, we didn't force the Bills to punt. So
I
We
forgot
actually
about
have
how bad that
we
game
actually
is.
have
Right?
some, some good secondary players, but it just doesn't matter against Josh Allen. He's the type of guy, like, he's just undeniable. And so I like that. All three will definitely make appearances in my portfolio. But like you said, Allen and Hurts are kind of the two right now. But it is pretty comfy though, kind of like you said, to stack up the Kelsey Mahomes 1-2, get that out of the way. I've done that a few times in the big board, which we're going to draft here, in a little bit. Um, and then kind of hammer wide receiver and running back. Usually I stick to more of a zero RB team if I take them early, because I want to make up some of that, since there's such good wide receivers going in the first round. I kind of want to make that up. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I would say let's pull up the big board first so we can show everybody what we're looking at, where they're going. Right
Absolutely.
now, we have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, projected at 367 points. By the way, these guys, all three of them were on pace for 400 or over 400 last year. They hit it, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty insane. With the next quarterback after them being about 350, so that's a 60-point disparity. So
Right.
I can see why these guys are going super early. Um, I'm not fully on it, but let's say who are we taking? If you were to take them, if you took Kelsey Mahomes, who would be your
Right.
next pick? Who are you taking these guys over? Right. I think that's the part that gets tough for me. It's like, how comfortable am I taking these guys and then passing up on Tyreek Hill, passing up on Saquon Barkley, Amon Ross St. Brown, and so on. There's a lot of these guys are going around them. I will say though, I'm okay taking him over Garrett Wilson. Like, I don't know, it's a guy coming for the second year with no quarterback. That makes sense. Jalen Waddle,
I
sharing
had
the
to push
ball.
back on that one.
Yeah. But there's a
It,
lot of go ahead.
no, I mean, I would push back on the Garrett Wilson one. I mean, it appears he's going to get a quarterback upgrade. I mean, whether it's Rodgers or Carr, I mean, he had Zach Wilson, and Mike White was a good story last year, but I have no issues taking Garrett Wilson. I have a lot of Garrett Wilson right now on the big board. So I'd push back on that one. But I get what you're saying overall. Like, some
It's
question
a
marks
weird
are the
second
same.
round. There's not like really strong names like there were last year, right? You don't got Tyreek Hill, you don't got Saquon, you don't have a Aaron Jones without Devontae Adams anymore. Last year's second rounds were very enticing. I think people forget how strong that second round is versus what it looks like this year.
Yeah, I'm still enticed by the wide receivers here. Bijan's at the top of the second round, of course, but that's, at the 1-2 turn, so it's a little different. But I get what you're saying. I'm pretty excited about some of these receivers.
I
And
mean,
so
AJ
that's,
Brown was pick 25 last year, so I mean that's
yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, looking back on the second round, Tyreek Hill, wish I would have had more of him. I think I fell into the trap of, oh, just take Waddle because he's late. He's a couple rounds later. Um, but no,
All
yeah,
right.
that
So, I mean, it makes sense. Let's try to knock out a draft and see if we can get one of these guys. If not, we'll see how it
yeah,
goes. What do you think?
let's see what we can do and see if we want to take the guys early or not.
Oh my God. So many contests are out right now.
I know.
It's actually
A lot
crazy.
of
The big
dailies,
board is almost halfway and we're
right?
barely at the combine.
Let's see how many people we need. We were waiting for 10. All
Oh man,
right,
it's a good minute.
9. We might have to talk a little bit more about the quarterbacks here, but yeah, hopefully they'll be feeling pretty quickly.
So combine's officially started off.
Mhm.
I think one of the advantages right now to take, and I think we fall for this every year where we underplay a lot of rookies and we overplay a lot, and we
Right.
overplay the big names, right? Like Bihan right now going at pick 13 is insane in comparison to what happened last year with like Brees Hall around 5, 6, 7, or Najee the year before that, around 7, 8, 9.
Right.
I think a lot of these superstar guys are getting pushed up, and a lot of these guys that are not as popular, like Zay Flowers and etc., who are still in the mid tier, I think are much guys I would be targeting because at this point they realistically only go up. I also wouldn't be taking any quarterbacks at all in this week. They're all going pretty early in comparison to some of the other better players. I mean, which rookies are you eyeing right now?
So I am in on Bijan at the 1-2 turn. I think he's one of those talents like a rookie Saquon, that is just kind of a no brainer, a no doubt type guy. I don't even really not really concerned with his landing spot either. But I like some of the rookie wide receivers. This class overall is not as strong. There's no Jamar Chase. There's no elite guy. I'm not even sure if there's a Garrett Wilson. But JSN, Quentin Johnson, Addison. I think they're all pretty solid for where they're going. A lot I do think will depend on landing spot with those guys, though.
I mean, any team that takes them is. I mean, their ADPs aren't the worst. So let's pull up someone like what wide receiver ADPs are right now. We're only waiting for one person, so we can knock these out really quick.
Oh, here we go. Let's see if we get a good spot.
Oh, here we go.
Yep. Okay, 1-3. We'll take that. We'll take that a lot. Love getting one of those top 3 picks right now.
You already know who am I leaning on. I lean on CMC so hard right now. I even consider Tyreek. He's always been a top level receiver, but who would you want to take at the 103?
Let's see. I would want to take, CMC would be great if he falls. I honestly, I'm good with all 3. I don't have really a preference. My portfolio right now, I have more Jefferson and McCaffrey, and I think it's just because I ran bad on 1-2, so people have taken Chase at the 1. But really, I don't think you can go wrong taking any of those 3 guys.
Have you taken any Kelsey this early? I feel like that's kind of inflating right now.
I have not taken him at 4, but I've got him to fall to 6 and 7 a couple times. So I do have some Mahomes Kelsey teams. Not me. I think maybe 2. So we're coming up. Jettis goes 1, the normal pick. Hopefully we'll get your boy CMC. We do. Love. Feels so comfy when you get CMC.
I mean, the one thing about CMC is he allows you to just kind of do anything, right? You can feel good, go, hero RB. You can go heavy wide receiver at this point. You can take a pop shot on a quarterback. You don't need to stack them. It's not a stacking player.
Right.
Because there's no one, you're not taking any of these quarterbacks at, 49ers. So I like him. He proved he bounced back. He's exactly what you wanted last year, short of 2 or 3 minor games that weren't that great.
Yeah, but Davis, he's going to get injured. He's CMC, right?
Oh, God. Think about how people were able to stack CMC Saquon last year. That's kind of the craziest thing to me when you think about it.
Yeah. What are you thinking on Saquon right now? I've heard some FUD for him so far. People were wondering if the Giants are going to re-sign him or not. The Daniel Jones rushing emergence to end the year. I've seen a little bit of Saquon FUD. What are you thinking on Saquon right now?
I think at his current ADP, I'm fine with it. Right, he's someone you pick in the second. You're flip flopping some CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Saquon, what people did last year, anyways. I did see him gas out a little bit last year, and that was kind of rough. When someone gasses out like that, it does scare me. Nick Chubb kind of gassed out a little bit. Derrick Henry kind of gassed out a little bit. I want to see him play his 17 games, at all strong. We'll see how that goes, but you got to take him. He's one of the few guys that is a good pass catcher, a good runner. He's one of the perfect backs in the league outside of CMC.
Yeah, he's one of those guys in that range. Like it's JT, Saquon, Bijan usually all go in this range. All right, we got Josh Allen at the 1-2 turn with Jonathan Taylor, so it's our first of those elite quarterbacks off the board. The AJ Brown CD double, you're getting that NFC East Week 17 correlation that you're hoping to get. I've seen some people. Have you seen that Galaxy Brain?
No, I haven't.
People trying to stack divisional opponents in these, hoping they match up in Week 17.
God, it makes sense. I actually think that's smart.
I love it. Like that's the type of the Galaxy Brain stuff that I love.
Didn't Mike McCarthy just come out and just said he wanted to run the ball and that's all he wanted to do?
Oh, he came out with one of the most boomer quotes I've ever seen. About talking about how Kellen Moore passed too much and worrying about turnovers. And so I would not be super happy if I was a Giants fan. I mean, a Cowboys fan. Sorry. That's my city's team. Not my team, but my city's team. No Mahomes yet. No Obviously, Mahomes. The person, the Kelsey, yeah, see, I just don't get that. Like, I get if you're going Diggs Allen or Kelsey Mahomes, but outside of that, I don't know, maybe you're doing it for uniqueness, I guess, hoping that, maybe somehow you get Mahomes goes off and Kelsey doesn't, and I don't know. All right. We are coming up on the clock here. What are you thinking at this point? I'm definitely thinking receiver, one of these guys.
I want a receiver. I think I want someone like Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, those type of guys. I like Devontae Smith more. He got a ton of red zone looks at the end of last season. I think that's hard to beat. Mm-hmm. He almost got out targeted AJ Brown, and I think that's pretty good. I would go Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I love Devontae Smith. Won a Heisman for my college team, and so I'll always love Devontae Smith. Was making jokes that he's the true alpha last year because you're right. I mean, down the stretch, I mean, he out targeted AJ Brown a lot, and he makes some insane catches. You know, he's such a good player, especially his size. The
He's a
stuff he
he's a,
does.
he's a surgeon, man. Like his route running is amazing. He doesn't skip, and I people think I hate AJ Brown, and I think AJ Brown's an amazing receiver, but he's not as quarterback friendly as Devontae Smith. He's not coming back to the ball as much. He's not running perfect routes. You know,
Mm.
he was so good in the red zone. I think that's
All right,
just upside.
we're back up.
I hate a lot of these picks at this point. People are gonna probably laugh, but I would probably take like I don't know Amari Cooper or something here. I don't like the running backs here at all. Maybe Josh Jacobs. Travis Etienne is probably the only running back I like here. Actually, I'd probably go Etienne.
You know what? Let's go a little early, RB. I probably would have just taken Olave, betting on the year 2 breakout that you see a lot from wide receivers. Obviously, his quarterback situation is very uncertain. You know, I think if somehow the Jets get Rodgers, I think they're still in the mix for Carr. But you know, the quarterback situation is iffy. But I love betting on young, talented players. But I love ETN as well, and so I like we kind of got our 2 at like our dual RBs early. Probably need to hit wide receiver now. Probably not taking any early quarterbacks with these guys.
No, probably not.
So probably need to hit receiver. Maybe look at tight end as we move forward.
So someone on the board right now that cracks me up a little bit is Mike Williams. How do you feel Mike Williams? This is a guy that I think we all
I know you're not
year.
a Mike Williams guy at all.
I was last year for a minute. I tried to make him work with that Rams Chargers Week 17 situation, and it did not work well.
So he's a guy, and an interesting conversation. I've been meaning to ask you about this in one of our chats, but so he's a guy we know can go off for spike weeks. And so I don't mind sprinkling them in my portfolio. Even if they're a guy I'm worried about their volume, I'm worried about if they'll stay healthy. It's just kind of like, you know, the way Mike Evans went off in week 17. Like, if there's an archetype of a player, even if they might be bad for advance rate, it's kind of like trying to maybe get a low advance rate guy with a high ceiling to week 17. I know there's been some people in the space talk about this. I'm not saying I want to fill my team with like lower advance rate guys, but if I do, I want it to be someone who I know has 30, 40 point ceiling.
I mean, Pat Kareem would agree with you. Like, he had Mike Evans, right? Like, everyone that didn't have
He
Mike
actually didn't. He did not have Mike. He
Oh,
had
he
Godwin.
didn't.
He had Godwin and Brady,
Godwin.
and then Eckler was his big guy.
Eckler was
the
the big one.
separator. Yeah. And he had
Like-
Kittle. So Kittle's another one who went off in week 17, but was probably a bad advance rate guy because he's so inconsistent. But like, which you know, I'm an elite tight end person. Like, I'm going to continue taking him for that exact reason, though.
I like this Dom's pick here. He took Harris. He reached for Harris, and I think this is a fine reach. Look at it. If you look at his team, it actually makes a lot of sense to just kind of take it and be done. He's going to be 3 and 4 for RBs.
Yeah.
I think Harris
will need to stop at RB.
Yeah, you'll definitely see Najee go up to round 3. There's no reason this guy should be in 44, falling to pick 50. I like seeing that a lot more. He's guaranteed a role, and a solid role.
Yeah.
Breathing says he made a comment about Pat Kareem got lucky.
I mean, it takes a lot of luck to win, you know, a 400,000 person contest.
Exactly.
But
I mean, I got lucky that last game didn't play out either. I mean, I finished top 12 in Puppy 1, and if that game would have played, I probably would have been.
I got
15, 20
for winning the mitten with the Eagles, or the mitten. I don't know. It was one of like the mitten returns again for like the 14th time is the one I actually won. But that, you know, blown penalty call in the Super Bowl and that game ending without the Eagles getting a real chance, like that helped me win that contest.
Soon.
Yeah.
We're coming up soon. I love these receivers here. I love Judy, Godwin,
Judy would be my
Moore,
guy right there.
McLaurin. These guys are like, I want this round like earlier if I could. I might even start reaching for them at the end of round 3 so I can get these guys 4 or 5 kind of situations.
Get some uniqueness. Yeah, I'm with you. This round of receiver right here, I have so much of all these guys. Besides Christian Kirk, I'm a little lower. Him and Ridley.
I'm a little lower on him, but I think like Judy, Godwin, Moore, is in McLaurin.
Or who would you go for here?
I would take Judy. I
Well, good,
think
Judy.
Russell Wilson is that type of guy to kind of make guys like him work. And I also think people are kind of down on Chris Godwin. So you'll likely see Chris Godwin slip a little bit more than you will see Judy slip.
Yeah.
Then Terry McLaurin too, like nearly QB proof. Um,
Oh yeah, I've taken some Terry. I even Drake London. I know we kind of disagree on him a little bit.
not him
I think he's
himself.
yeah.
It's his coach. I disagree on.
His
I disagree on his
coach and
coach.
his
Yeah.
quarterback situation is iffy. I just when I watched him play, he's just a good receiver. And I know I'm not saying you don't think he's good, but I'm just still willing to take him. I'm not gonna have as much as him as the other guys. And also Godwin, I mean, the Bucks are kind of going nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know the salary cap implications and all that, but he in my mind he makes sense as a trade guy potentially. But
I think he's a friendly wide receiver for quarterbacks, right? He plays
yeah,
easy, shallow routes, easy for to get points in. I like Godwin in the
Godwin,
situation. Godwin, McLaurin,
McLaurin, you make the call.
give me McLaurin.
Okay.
Yeah, give me McLaurin.
I know you're a big McLaurin fan, and I like Scary Terry too.
I mean, he's just a deep ball guy, right? He's QB proof also. And Sam Howell didn't look terrible in his short stint.
Right.
And
They could always bring in a veteran as well to compete with Howell. So,
BFFL, he's picking ahead of us. He's at 102, and he took Dameon Pierce. He's saying that Pierce is never falling back to me.
Yeah, Dameon Pierce is an interesting one. I think I need to get some more of him.
My issue with Pierce is how inefficient that team is, right? So Pierce doesn't really get a pass catching role, and I do think pass catching is a little overrated in a half PPR format. You're hoping that he gets end zone touches, and based on what we saw last year from the Texans, they didn't get to the end zone at all, like at all. So unless he's getting those goal line touches, I'm not too excited. We would have to assume that offense becomes straight up better, and we don't even know what's going on right now on that team. So Damian Pierce kind of falls down for me, and I'd rather reach early for guys like Najee.
That's fair. I mean, I think that, they definitely have a chance to be better. Well, I mean, they're going to be starting a rookie quarterback more than likely, so we'll see. They're probably going to they have another first round pick. A lot of people are saying, it makes a lot of sense to double tap, take quarterback, then take a wide receiver there as well. So we'll see what they do. They could be a better offense, is what I'm saying. Like at least, functional.
Yeah, Davis Mills was pretty bad last year, and he was a guy that I think a lot of us was hoping he would step forward because he did finish his
I took him.
year pretty strong.
I'll be like, I would just tack him on as my second quarterback, or like two late guys, if I took in a lead, and did not work.
I mean, it wasn't a bad idea, right? You think about it, like Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, John Mechie, like coming into the season, that doesn't seem terrible. That's actually a pretty nice core with a offensive line at 3 first rounders. Like I don't think you can hate that. It just didn't play out. It didn't pan out, and that happens, right? He was a pick round 18 guy. You can't get mad at your round 18 picks that often. Sure. Trevor Lawrence slipped 16 picks.
So I've been seeing Lawrence and Herbert. So I've taken Lawrence. I don't know what my percent on him is, but he seems to fall. Like that's kind of some indications I'm seeing that people are eventually as the summer goes, are going to let these guys start falling a little bit. But Herbert and Lawrence in particular, I've been able to get around past ADP several times.
I can't take Herbert. I can't. I mean, he plays so much like a veteran, and he has no rushing upside. It's really hard to take him at all. I mean, he didn't pay off ADP last year. He's going higher this year, so he's going higher, and he didn't pay off last year, and he might lose his best weapon. It feels like everything that's negative possible is like in that narrative, and I'm just gonna bite into it.
So we're about to come back up here. I really like this. I like some of these guys in this range as well.
Evans, Pickens, Addison. Like this is fun. I think this is.
I mean, even I'm kind of in on Treylon this year as like basically the only guy on the Titans, hoping they get someone. What are you thinking here?
I like Ayuk a lot here. I think Evans and Ayuk are just like my two guys. They're red zone guys. They get deep shots. They were really strong last year overall. They did great contributions.
Let's go Evans. I know he's the older guy. We didn't take Godwin.
You're thinking about week 17. They're like, if this guy goes off in week 17.
No, but Ayuk has a lot more competition for targets and potentially Lance, who we're kind of worried about his passing ability, to be quite frank. And so
Jordan Addison goes. That's a good pick too. I'm hoping that he won't be pick 72 when he actually gets drafted. Let's be real. He's gonna be up in that 5th round. Unless he gets drafted to like a really weird team or some sort. Like he ends up on like the Ravens and they let Lamar Jackson go. Like I don't see him moving down from his pick.
So I think we take another one of these wide receivers here. I still like some of the guys on the board, and we can. I don't know. We have a lot invested in running back.
I would say
we got
I would
Ayuk.
say
We took Evans over him.
I mean, you make a good point. Who would you take? I think you want Treylon here or Gabe
I would
Davis?
either do Ayuk or Treylon. I know you liked Ayuk, and I kind of took the Evans pick, so I'm fine going Ayuk. Or
let's go with Treylon. Let's go with Treylon.
you don't have to twist my arm.
With their quick QB situation being kind of unknown, I think Ayuk is kind of a question mark. Right? If Purdy starts, I don't like that. If Trey Lance starts, I like it. Trey Lance and through to Ayuk generally pretty deep. And I think they're going to want to make Kittle kind of more of a run blocker in that case and pass blocker for Trey Lance if that came up. But I think Purdy has such a good connection with Kittle that would scare me.
I'm just worried. I'd be worried about all the pass catchers though with Lance because we just don't know like if he's even good. It's just tough to tell at this point still. So he's barely played. He hasn't played at all. So and it's just a competition as well.
I mean, realistically, the quarterback doesn't have to be good. They just have to be able to pass the ball, right? Like we've seen, 1,500-yard guys on shitty quarterbacks in the past. It happens. So I think Ayuk has that chance to be at like 11, 12. And he didn't even look with AP last year, and he was pretty reasonable.
To bring this comment from BFFL, look at this team.
Want to touch on
the 4 hole? We got Kelsey, Kittle, and Pitts. Here. It's not a start I would do it at all. I think that's way too much investment at that position. I know some people like the bully tight end and getting 2 elite guys early and then quitting. 3 is way too much.
I would be willing to bet money this team doesn't advance. He's taking like everyone that no one like is down on right now. Everyone's down on Pitts. Everyone's down on Joe Mixon. We're unsure with Calvin Ridley. Kenneth Walker is a guy that people hate at the 3rd round. I hate Kenneth Walker in the 3rd round. I don't think he was not efficient at the end of the season.
Well, that and sorry to interrupt you. What's up, Nez? How are you doing? But so also Penny going down, I think is an underrated part, of Ken Walker's emergence. The pass catching stuff we're kind of a little bit worried about, and then you're talking about his efficiency. He's someone in the rookies and sophomores too. I've taken Garrett Wilson over and things like that.
Yeah, I would do that. I would actually agree to that. I did not like how Kenneth Walker finished the season. I felt like he was making up for Geno's inability to get red zone targets completed for guys like DK and Tyler. So I think it helps him out.
What's up, Stephanie? How you doing? Hope the weather's okay where you are. We're getting bad storms here in the DF. Yeah, Nez as well. Nez is DFW. We're getting bad storms
Underdog here. Nez, you mean? Underdog Nez.
Yeah, Underdog Nez. That's awesome. Congrats to the Badge Bros. That's just so cool.
All right, so we need to start figuring out if we want to take a quarterback soon. And if we do, which quarterback would you want to take? Me and you actually agree on this one. We're very in on like Kirk Cousins too. Like we just like those kind of guys.
These guys. Let's see if we have a stacking component though.
We don't.
I do. I mean, we can look at Russ a little bit later.
Actually, don't mind Russ. I think.
Yeah, we can wait on him.
I hated him last year because his ADP didn't make any sense, but this year it's not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get some type of stack if we can.
Would you want to?
Which we could late, Osborne's your guy. We could take Kirk and try and get Osborne late. Kirk.
We could probably grab someone like Osborne down the road.
I probably wouldn't take Tua in this. Okay, I'm in on Njoku.
I would take Njoku now to see if a quarterback falls to us.
Which our guy in front of us has already got 3 elite tight ends. So hopefully we don't get sniped here putting him in the queue.
Yeah, BFL has a 1 QB ahead of us. Jacker has 1 QB ahead of us. I could see one of these guys moving, but
I mean, the worst, if we don't get Kirk.
Oh, here goes Tua.
Let's go Njoku. And if we don't get Kirk, I mean, it's not like we have Justin Jefferson or Hawkinson, so I don't mind missing out on him.
We could
Um,
even get Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones was a week 17 guy.
yeah, he's a week 17 guy, and he's got that rushing upside that we don't necessarily have to stack, which his pass catchers are coming up later in the draft, so that's an easy one to kind of back stack. I actually would probably prefer that. And we could do Lance and CMC, but
I'd probably dodge that. I wouldn't want Lance. Like I said, we don't even know if he's starting. Pick 100 for a guy that we have no idea about. That's so expensive. I'd rather have Kirk.
sure.
I'd much rather have Kirk. I'd much rather have Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, even. Those guys just scream so much better to me.
Right. Yeah. If we don't get sniped on him, probably do Daniel Jones. But I mean, I don't mind Daniel Jones.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Yep, I like him. And we got some stacking partners later on him.
I always like coming back to these years later and just seeing these guys that flop down. Like this crazy ADP change. Alvin Kamara at pick 100. He's not even 30. It's like the craziest thing.
Alvin Kamara might be suspended 8 games.
Of course. But it's just funny. Like in hindsight, when you just look at it, it's like, man.
Oh, well, I didn't even realize how bad. You don't want a 45 milli QB. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I'm interested to see how that plays out. Like, some of the reporting around what Daniel Jones might get or is asking for is wild.
I think he knows better, but I also, if he tells me he wants 45 mil, it tells me he's not confident that he's going to make any money as a long-term QB. He's just trying to make his nut now, move it down.
All right, let's see.
Goes Kirk. That's a tough one to give up. Kirk usually has 8 to 9 solid games a year. I think that's hard to pass sometimes, but his spike weeks are pretty minimal. I mean, his best week was that Colts game where they played from behind. He threw like 500 yards or something. I don't think you're going to get that from Kirk anytime soon again.
No, and I mean, he is what? He's 37 now?
Yeah. 35.
He's older.
35.
35? I feel like he was older, but regardless, he's a middle-aged quarterback, so middle-aged for quarterback terms.
You know what? I don't want to. I'm older than Kirk Cousins. You get
quarterback terms, NFL quarterback terms.
I'm older than Kirk Cousins. Okay, I don't want to hear about a middle-aged quarterback that can't do anything. That stings.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to take a shot at you.
And half the world shuddered when you heard us say those words. Kind of sad that B-Rob already went away.
Yeah,
I was hoping Trevor Lawrence would have came back to us because I would have grabbed Trevor Lawrence. He would have came back originally.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good pick.
Okay, are you taking any Kyler? Someone messaged me and was like, "Wow, Kyler's at 120. Isn't that like he might be viable?" And I'm like, "No, he might not even play this year for all we know."
No, so I think the latest reports have been the timeline might not be as far out as we think. Which, I mean, I think that's all coming from the Cardinals and wanting to be optimistic. But no, I'm not taking much of him at all in this contest.
Kyler Murray that doesn't run and is probably going to lose DeAndre Hopkins. Are you excited on that? Like, I'm personally not.
No. Now, if we get closer, to draft season, late July, August, and we get the report, when it becomes official, oh yeah, Kyler's missing 8 weeks. He's missing, he's not coming back, till December or something. If he slides, I mean, the week 17 thesis type thing of, you got late round Kyler, he comes back late at, end of the year or something like that. I will draft him some then for that type of strategy thing. But no, not right now.
Yeah,
I like this range of quarterback too much, getting a couple of these guys. So that's not something I'm doing.
So we still have Juju, who is pissing off AJ Brown. Russell Wilson's still on the board.
Yeah, I don't think so Josh Downs is someone I picked some. I'm starting to get a little more excited about him. I mean, he's nothing like, I think he's kind of a slot only guy. I irrationally like Josh Palmer. Kenneth Gainwell is my highest exposed player right now.
So Stephanie's in the same boat with me. I made a comment. She says, I'm worried even when he comes back, won't be rushing, coming off injury this year at least. And I think that's where it's at. Without running,
that's right.
He loses a lot of his value. So I couldn't do it.
It would just be more of a uniqueness play, trying to have, like I said, the guy like on a third quarterback on a team that you're just trying to hope no one else has would be the thesis there. but no, definitely not taking him right now.
So we're next on the board. We could take our second QB here. I kind of want to push it. I want to kick this can down the road a little bit longer. I kind of want to grab Cole Kmet. He's a guy that kind of went off, was a red zone tight end. This would solidify us a little bit. We already have 5 receivers and 2 really strong running backs. I think taking someone like Cole Kmet here, knowing that.
I think if we take Cole Kmet, we're probably going to stop at 2 tight ends. So don't you think? With 2 tight ends in the top 10 rounds?
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I would be okay with that.
And that can allow us to pad up or see. Kmet is. I don't have a lot of him, but I do agree with you. I thought he looked pretty good down the stretch. He had a couple of really big spike weeks there. So I'm fine with it.
Pick 20, it would be like our 3rd tight end, right? We don't have to go into a mid guy. I just think that he got a lot of love.
So looking here, the names stick out to me. Wan'Dale Robinson for the Daniel Jones stack. Kenneth Gainwell, who I just like Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's really good. Those are kind of the two names sticking out to me in this range. What are you thinking there?
I think Wan'Dale is fine. I also think we can grab Isaiah Hodgins later a little bit too. That will get us at 7 receivers. I don't really think the other guys here are too great. Kenneth Gainwell might be someone I'd be interested in because Miles Sanders is in a weird predicament, and he did get some.
Yeah, the Eagles used him at the goal line. I remember one series they gave him like 4 straight attempts or 3 straight attempts at the goal line, and
he's pass casting just enough. So I think he would be someone to be interested in. I'm not too sold, but I wouldn't be against it. But let's get the stack.
Okay, yeah, let's get the stack. Just compared to the other guys here, I mean this range is pretty rough unless you're taking your second QB. I mean, there's a couple guys, but
I would consider, Derek Carr, Bryce Young possibly. Bryce Young at 136 isn't the worst. I just don't think a team that's taking him is going to be a good team. Like, it's very rare that, think about like the last team that was semi-decent that took a QB early was the Chargers, right? The team that already had pieces. It's very rare. I think the Texans are probably the closest team. If they get a receiver this year, they would be a team that I would hope someone gets on there with, because they would have Nico, John Mechie, enough capital to buy a receiver or draft another receiver. Kind of interesting in that case.
I like where we're sitting at. When we got 2 really good RBs, we're excited about. So I really don't mind pushing it. There's some rookies with probably more potential starting, versus what Gainwell would give you, and he's falling a little bit too. A guy I like, Keishawn Butte. He's an LSU wide receiver, 5-star recruit, big time prospect. Had a really good, I believe, sophomore year. Was down this year, but he's kind of been one of those guys who is like supposed to be the next first round guy from LSU. It didn't really live up to it, but he's a guy that's talented, that I don't mind. Elijah Mitchell. No, yeah, it seems.
I think my only
I've been taking Elijah Mitchell as a handcuff.
My only issue, Keishawn Butte, you said, is that he's one of those guys that kind of slipped a little bit. He is coming off his junior year, which is nice, because usually you like to see these guys come a little early. I mean, they're confident. He might get drafted in the 2nd round, but what scares me is his NFL comparison was Terrence Marshall. And I just think that's like, oh, that's funny to me, because that's exactly what happened with Terrence Marshall.
No, I mean, like, I would have been a huge Terrace Marshall person as well coming out, because
size.
But no, yeah, Boots. I just like betting on I'm someone who loves just betting on talent. Like, pedigree matters to me, and so he's a guy kind of like Hodgins coming up again though.
I just don't think I think at this point we should probably try to fill out the rest of our roster. We have 6 receivers this early. We did go them back to back to back. We're pretty deep. I want to say let's fill out a running back. Maybe we can find a quarterback. I would take Derek Carr. We know Derek Carr's getting the job. Oh, he just got drafted. He got
drafted. I mean, Bryce is going to be there. Stafford. If not, Pickett, Stroud, Mack, those guys. Anthony
Pickett and Mack and Howell is pretty fun to take. I like those guys.
I wouldn't mind waiting and kind of, since we don't have an obvious stacking partner with Stafford or Young, which, I mean, obviously we don't have a stacking partner with Young. He hasn't been picked yet. I don't mind passing on those guys.
We have another comment at the bottom. again. He's asking us for a dark horse pick at the end.
It's a scroll. Um, Jerome Ford.
I was gonna say someone that's currently I like guys currently on contract still. Like I think Van Jefferson at like pick 220 is someone I just love. Right, he gets out there, catches a random 40-yard ball in the TD. Kendrick Bourne's another guy that's still on contract. His cap cut is tempting for the Patriots, but with the free agency being so bad,
All
I
right,
think he gets
let's
by.
pick real quick. I don't want to think. So for me here, it'd probably be Madison, hoping that they let Dalvin Cook go or
I would
cut
do
him.
that. I like that one.
That
I
they
like
cut him, and
Madison.
that we luck into a 12th round starting running back. Would be the thought process there.
I
Um,
think this is a good pick for what our team is at.
yeah. Yeah, I know stuff. He won't let me just load up on like 12 wide receivers. It's kind of lame. No, but a Jerome Ford, the backup running back for the Browns, Hunt's gone. Dearness Johnson's probably gone. I mean, he could be Chubb's immediate backup. They could always bring someone in. But he's a guy that I'm interested in that doesn't get drafted too often. I don't think. Maybe he's risen up some. We can. Yeah, he just usurped Dearness. So people are probably coming around on that one. Pierre Strong for the Patriots as well.
That's what I've been taking quite a bit. I actually got on that because of you.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean the Patriots are going to let Damian Harris walk, like 99% chance, and so um, yeah, Pierre Strong or Kevin Harris. I mean they could all, the Patriots. They seem to draft a middle round running back when they don't need one. They did. It had Damian Harris in the third, then took Ramondre in the fourth, and then they took Kevin Harris and Strong this year. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again because it kind of seems like something they do in the middle rounds every year.
we're coming up on our next pick. Some of the guys I didn't like last year, I think are better off this year, are guys like Michael Gallup. 1 year past his injury, big body guy, had some random spike weeks. Dalton Schultz is not likely not to resign.
Who Pickett goes. I was gonna maybe bring up Pickett. You like Alec Pierce at all as a younger guy, or Hodgins for a stack? I don't
I
mind Gallup
like.
too if you want to go.
I think Gallup is a guy I would take, knowing that his quarterback's the same QB. Right. I'm not a
I'm,
Gallup guy by any means,
I'm
but
just worried. I know it's 1 year from the injury. How old is Michael Gallup? That's not. I don't.
26.
He's that young. Wow.
He's a young dude. He's a younger guy.
Okay. Well, yeah. Maybe
He's a
we'll see.
big body player. He plays physical, so I think his years will catch up to him really, really fast. But I think like with Dalton Schultz leaving,
Yeah,
I
you
want more
sniped
Gallup.
this. I was gonna bring Pickett up, but
Yeah,
Gallup had more surgeries. Stephanie's a Cowboys fan,
yeah.
so she
I
would be
know he
kind of
did.
tuned on that.
It's a
Um,
rough call, but it's on an
Hey, you know
ACL
what?
tear.
It's a 13th round pick in Feb or in March, so we'll see. It could be a good bet, but I'm thinking the Cowboys are going to bring in a receiver. I don't mind it.
See, a lot of these guys that don't have tight ends, I'm very envious of them. They can get Tyler Higbee. I think Tyler Higbee has been a great pick
So the
at
only
this
thing with
point.
him though there's talks he's going to get released. I'm not remember what his contract situation is. I think
Well,
he was on
potential.
some cut candidate articles. Oh, you have Pickens? Yeah,
Yeah, he's Pickens.
perfect.
He took him
That's a
early.
stack that I have so much of in the big board right now because Pickens is my guy.
I was going to say Rondell Moore too is another guy I probably would have considered, knowing that DeAndre Hopkins is likely to get traded.
So this next range, we probably let's see. Damian Harris is a guy I've taken a lot of, as I think we've talked a little bit about him in
There's
our
no way he
chat.
doesn't get a job. He's got a
Yeah,
job, right?
yeah.
Like
He's young. He's good when he's on the field. He was just injured this past year. I've been saying like hoping someone brings him in as their like Jamal Williams, like the Lions had as their goal line back because he scored 15 touchdowns for the Patriots 2 years ago.
I mean, to
Um,
be fair, I'll give you Patriots fans like you guys. Bill Belichick will turn the bottom. People always talk about how he makes quarterbacks and cornerbacks amazing. He makes that O line
yep,
amazing. He's been selling like dud O linemen to like the league for decades now. These guys will get paid out and then they do nothing. Like Mason did the same thing. Like it's
right.
so bad. So I think that Damien Harris benefited from such a great scheme that
No, he
Belichick.
did, and for a lot of years of the Patriots, they had a famous O line coach, Dante Scarnecchia. He was the guy that was like the O line whisperer for the team. He recently retired 2 years ago now, I believe. So it'll be something to watch. They still had a pretty good line last year. Well, just a dreadful offense though, as a whole. Let's see how some of these other teams are looking. See how our 3 tight end person is rebounded. They went ahead and took 3 quarterbacks, and they took Alvin Kamara as well, and Mixon, both legal issue running backs with the. That's it.
He's got to
That's
name his
tough.
team. That person's got to name their team like incoming suspension.
It's tough.
Jail time. I would call that team jail time. Like that's coming up. That's got to be it.
Oh man,
that's so bad. Even Calvin Ridley's on that team. A guy that missed all of last year.
Yeah, I noticed your huge Bengal stack. The Chase Higgins Burrow. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think I've only gotten one of those so far with the 3 of them in the big board. But
He's
yeah,
playing a lot of
I
deep players.
like this team a lot. You took 3 running backs I like, receivers. Yeah, I'm very jealous of your team right now. This is a team that I would draft a lot of. Big fan there. So we're coming back around. There's still some receivers here I like. I think all 5 of these guys are interesting. 6 with Nico.
I would probably skip Nico this year, as much as I love the Nico. I think MVS is a buy. I think DJ Shark's a buy.
Yeah, I like Shark as
Damien
well.
Harris is a buy here. Because our team is so strong at receiver, we can't afford like middle guys, right? We need to buy like deep shot players. We need to buy guys that are like, hey, he's 50 yards downfield. They just threw it at him.
Yeah.
We went really strong with Mike Evans and so on. Like I see a lot of guys who take these early receivers, like the Judys, like we did, and then they'll try to stack with more Judy type players. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. You need to start stacking the Gabe Davises of the world. And I think MVS is a guy I would add here, and maybe not Nico, because Nico has actually been a short route runner. He's not actually going deep down like the field as his Michigan days was.
I'm thinking. So who would you pick more, or who do you like more between Damien Harris and Mostert going into next year?
I take Damien Harris. Mostert's too old. His injuries have piled up forever. Mm-hmm. He's 31. People don't know, but Mostert's like 31 right now.
Yeah, he is. He's really pretty good for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah, but they haven't re-signed him. We haven't re-signed him. They'll probably re-sign Jeff Wilson. I think that he's coming back most likely. If we draft somebody, I'm very interested in. When I was talking about this before, and actually I'm surprised that the Broncos already released the news, but I want to see who the running back for the Broncos is, who they draft. Because they have 2 third-round picks. They're taking RB there. And whoever that guy is, I want him, especially with Sean Payton. Sean Payton's always been a 2 RB guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Javonte coming off that injury, they're not going to want to give him, just grind him after that.
Like, watch Jahmyr Gibbs go there, and, like, you're going to want every piece of that. I'm serious though, because that would be Kamara Ingram.
That'd be so much investment. Yeah, it would be. I think Gibbs they'll probably get priced out of the Gibbs market though. It does seem like he's going to be top 45 pick, like top of the 2nd round, probably type guy. Which I know me and you, we have our concerns on him with being a little smaller and
Brees was a better prospect by far.
I don't know about that. Yeah, that's probably true. The pass catching though with Gibbs is just so elite.
So I think MVS is the guy I want here for sure. I think you got to get him. He's the only
I
person that will beat
I
all
like
receivers.
Samuel. I like MVS. I like Chark. I still like a 3. I like even Tyquan. If we don't have a second quarterback yet, we could do Tyquan, Mac, something. Hunter Henry. Well, we don't really need Hunter Henry, but yeah, there's still some receivers here that I'm interested in.
We can get Hal for the stack. Actually, I don't mind Hal for the stack either.
Yeah, he might come back. All right, BFFL takes MVS from us. Do you want to do Chark? I think I'd rather do Chark.
When's our next pick? We don't have a next pick, right? It's not for a minute.
No, but if we don't take, let's just take Hal. Let's make that bet.
Because if we don't get another quarterback now, we're definitely going to be swimming for somebody else, and we're going to find a deep shot receiver down the field.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
My issue with Curtis Samuel, he plays a lot of short routes too. I mean, it's going to be interesting of how much he actually contributes. He contributed in the first half, did nothing in the second, and that was only because of Wentz. So who sees what he does? And I think Jahan Dodson takes a step forward. He's the red zone guy on that team. So Samuel might be a trap this year. I think Samuel's going to be someone you want in like drafters, DK, if you're playing DK. You want him in PPR, not so much in half.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, Thielen's a good pick here. Thielen's a guy you know is
going late. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Osborne taking his job though, but we'll see.
He got forced into some weird situation. They even threw the ball to him way too many times.
We'll see. We'll see there. I'm not huge on Thielen. I just an aging wide receiver that
So Stephanie
when
says,
especially with Osborne.
Shark, Hal Samuel.
We could have done Samuel Howell to go with McLaurin there, but we had already taken Damian Harris. Thielen getting cut. Yeah, I've seen that a little bit too. That he's a cut candidate as well. There's a lot. So much is gonna change when all these cuts start happening.
I think Thielen can get a restructure though. I think he can. He might get something. I think that Kirk Cousins is going to be like begging for him to be there, and he might get a contract friendly thing. It happens more often than we know. Coming back around, we still got Curtis Samuel, Jordan Love, Raheem, Taekwon,
Penny.
Rashad Penny. I think Penny's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play somewhere. I mean, obviously, but I'm saying I think a team is gonna want to use him. I mean, he's been
Mac
good every
Jones,
time he's been on the field. It's just healthy. Yeah, Mac. I think this is probably a 3 QB team in a 20 round.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I actually I give Mac crap, but I give Mac crap because of the way that offense ran last year. I think he's a better pass catcher. Better passer than we give him credit for. He has a really bad team. His entire receiving core was injured last year.
Oh yeah, you gotta tell me about it. Can you convince me why Rodgers is not retiring? The writing is on the wall.
Because he does not want to share the Hall of Fame year with Tom Brady.
Wow, that's a take. I like it.
I think that screams Rodgers to me, right? Like, do you want to be Aaron Rodgers and then when Tom Brady gets inducted, you're inducted with him?
Yeah.
Or if you're not inducted because of him.
He also has so much money left on that contract as well, right? Yeah. You just signed that 3-year, 150 million was the reported number.
Yeah, they're just paying him to play. Just to be on the team. He doesn't have to play well. I just can't imagine him just wanting to be inducted with Tom Brady. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be overshadowed in that class right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
If we get Mac, I definitely want Mac for this. Paris Campbell, I think people are really high on him, and I don't see the reason for it.
Yeah, I haven't taken much Paris Campbell.
Yeah, he wasn't impressive last year, but
I kind of like Chuba a little bit.
I think Chuba's a good buy. Right? You buy Chuba, you buy Pierre, you buy these guys at the bottom and hope that they take a secondary role, if not the starting role.
Or Mostert 34 picks after ADP.
I just don't know where that guy goes, man.
Yeah.
And he's one of the more injury-prone running backs in the league.
Yeah, he is. He gets up such big games still, but no, I understand there.
As a guy who plays a ton of Madden, I agree with you. Raheem Mostert's amazing. He has 99 speed and just goes up the gut, and then you just win with him.
I can actually relate to that. Raheem Mostert is awesome in Madden.
So Madden. It's so good in Madden.
There's so many running backs that are better in real life that are just not fun to use because of the speed.
I mean, Matt Breida was amazing, dude. The Dolphins had them both. They both had 99 speed running backs at one point. That's so good. I'm good for that.
Let's see. Or he's gonna auto Mac. Nope. All right, take Mac.
Take Mac here.
I mean, Devontae Parker, I know is still there because I've tacked him on in the 20th round.
I would grab Kendrick Bourne. I think Parker is
I'm just worried. Are they gonna keep Kendrick Bourne? Is the only thing.
I mean, he does have a bad cap, but his cap I think is $5 million if they keep him. That's not the worst for a receiver, right? The Corey Davis is $10 million, so I could see him being cut. But for $5 million for a receiver, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
And the chemistry Mac Jones had with him was pretty good. And Devontae Parker just can't stay healthy. That man is the Will Fuller of my life right now.
Yeah, I'm sure you have some scars from him on the Dolphins.
His one good
Bourne
year.
is risky this early. I kind of agree with Chris G here.
Oh yeah. Definitely this early it would be bad. But I'm talking about later. I'd be fine for it.
Chuba here.
Yeah, I think Chuba's fine.
We only have 4 of these right now. Probably need to bolster that a little bit. And there's a chance he's the starter. What's up, Chris?
So I was just thinking maybe Daniel Bellinger, stacker Daniel Jones to the moon.
Yeah, there's a chance Bellinger comes back to us. So I wouldn't mind tacking on it in 20 rounds. I still want to get one more receiver, I think. We take a shot. There's some young guys late that I think we can take a shot on. Slayton's still here. Marvin Mims from Oklahoma. Some people like Tyler Scott from Cincinnati. He's getting a lot of buzz. So there's some guys if we want to make this an 8 wide receiver team.
Well, yeah, don't we have 8 already? No, we have 7.
No, we only have 7.
Yeah, we definitely need to grab another receiver.
Yeah.
I think any of the picks, if you have in mind, Terrence Marshall, I think is fine here too. Campbell, it's gonna end up somewhere. I just don't care where he ends up, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not super interested there.
Let's go down a little bit. I think Marshall might have a shot. Van Jefferson is probably the guy I would want. Still under a contract, 3rd year. They can't really cut him anyways because his contract's still only 2nd rounder. I would take Van Jefferson.
See, we're still 12 picks away. Yeah. We'll see who comes back to us. As far as the running backs, Kenny McIntosh, he's a player from Georgia. Good pass catcher. Really, really fast and explosive. He's pretty small, but he's a good player. I like him a lot. Deuce Vaughn's a really small running back. This guy, I unfortunately can't pronounce his name yet, but I think it's Israel Abankanda from Pitt. He's apparently going to crush the combine. A lot of people are liking him right now. Tyler Scott, I was talking about from Cincinnati. The David Bell, year 2. Don't mind that. Devontae Parker. So there's still tons of names. That a lot of them that don't get drafted.
Russell Gage, that's the guy we all want right now. That man fell from grace. Oh my God.
Yeah. You show us your sneaky running back sleepers. All right, let's see it. 9 picks away.
I think if I had to try, it'd be Van Jeff for me. I think he's playing with Benny Scow still. Whatever left of Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp. He doesn't need to be the best guy in his team. And if Matthew Stafford's retained and they somehow play, then I would want that.
I don't know a lot about. Yeah, Christy's talking about A.T. Perry. I honestly don't know much about him at this point. He's one of the rookies I've seen that I'm not super familiar with. So I need to do some more research on him. But I've seen him in a lot of this stuff. Let's see. Cedric Tillman, he's a receiver from Tennessee. He was opposite Jalen Hyatt. He was injured for a lot of this year, but he was always the better prospect for Tennessee over Hyatt. But he really battled injuries this year. And his draft capital's in question, though. But we'll see. Back around. We could do the Bellinger and tack on the 3rd tight end. Go with our Daniel Jones.
That's gonna be so funny.
But I don't know. We took 2 kind of in the mid range. It's a position that doesn't score that much, but it's 20 rounds. And Bellinger went anyway. So
you have to have a 3rd, but it doesn't have to be Bellinger. I just think getting the 3rd helps because that is the most sporadic position in the league, especially because the 2 guys we took are just up bottom middle guys, not like upper middle, not like Goddard, type players. They're just kind of there.
So Zamir White also is here. The Josh Jacobs stuff is up in question, but I'm not super sold on him.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it either. I'd rather have Michael Carter or something, over them because these. But I'm not taking that though. I think these are all pretty rough.
Chris is saying Hayden Hurst is our 3rd tight end.
That makes sense.
He's free agent, I believe, and he goes. So he will not be our 3rd tight end. I like Slayton here to continue our
still in a contract. I think he's on free agency, right?
But I think he's a good enough player. He'll be somewhere. We could do Hunter Henry to go with Mac as our 3rd tight end.
I'll do that. Johnny's so dead right now. Like there's no way. Johnny's career is over. That man just went over there, cashed out.
Johnny's been posting the off-season Instagram clips though. I've seen those on my timeline. He's in the best shape of his life though, Davis.
Again, it's the 2nd best shape of his life. He's so best shaped right now.
You have lots of McIntosh. I do too, Stephanie. I like him a lot. I liked him in Georgia. He was a scary player for them.
We had Jake Ferguson, actually. This is going to sound goofy because if Dalton Schultz walks, Jake Ferguson could actually be a guy.
I have taken Jake Ferguson a few times, yeah.
I kind of forgot that he exists. I actually took a bet on him in Underdog's pick'ems, and he like crushed the yardage. I took his yardage.
They have Peyton Hendershot as well, right?
That's another one too. Yeah.
Uh, no Likely love. I like Isaiah Likely. I think me and Davis disagree on this one. I've been taking Isaiah Likely a lot in the rookies and sophomores. Um, I'm a big fan because I think I was talking about Monken coming from Georgia. They used a lot of the 2 tight end with Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers this year. That I think they're going to do the same. And Baltimore has no wide receivers, and so even if they bring in one guy, like a big guy, and Bateman comes back, I still think Likely and Andrews are going to be on the field a lot together.
The problem with Likely was that his snap count was under 50%, like
Right.
the majority of the season.
Do you want
And
to take a
they
shot
were-
on one of these rookies? Tyler Scott's getting a lot of like second, third round buzz.
Yeah, go
Mims.
for it. I mean, we do need to start taking some of these pop shots because these guys, when they do get drafted, they will move forward, and I think that's
I
fine.
think Tyler Scott is a good bet.
Our
At this
QBs
point.
are done. You know, we could add a 6th running back for fun, and I mean, at this point, we're in a where we have 3 tight ends. We're good to go. We don't need a 4th tight end. We don't need a 4th QB.
Yeah, I think it's either
Short
running
of
back
Ritter.
or wide receiver right here, depending on what we like the most.
I would consider Ritter just for funsies because our quarterback team is pretty weak, and Ritter is technically in a starting role. But other than that, there's really nothing to do here.
Yeah, I just feel like that might be a little unnecessary. We don't have a Falcon. Like obviously, though, I mean Ritter crushed at the combine, but he didn't really rush much.
You're just buying him for the rushing if you think he's going to, right? And that the word is if.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely athletic, but he just didn't really do it.
We dig deep a little bit further.
Yeah, you know, I think Devontae Parker's still here. If we want to do that, it's not sexy, but probably going to be on the Patriots. You know, Chris brought up A.T. Perry. Someone I don't know. I don't know anything about.
There's another guy I think people are a little bit on too.
David Hutchinson. I'm not as familiar with these guys, but Eric Gray, I think he's from Oklahoma. He was at Tennessee, maybe, or that's vice versa. One of those 2 things.
Do you think Juwan Jennings? I guess Juwan Jennings is actually kind of funny.
The 49ers put like some type of tag on him, right? Like they're keeping him.
He's they call in SF we call him 3rd and Juwan. 3rd and Juwan because that's what he does on 3rd down. It's always Juwan Jennings. It's like
I took him a lot in the mittens this past year.
And then I mean, there's a lot of guys down there where you can grab.
Yeah,
that down at bottom and wide receiving is interesting. You know.
You like Juan? Yeah. Chris G likes Juan as well.
Yeah. Juwan Jennings is like very interesting down there. There was another name down there. I forgot. I saw him a second ago. Keep scrolling.
Hamler?
A little bit more.
So make another bet on KJ Hamler. Quez?
Please not KJ Hamler. I can't. Justin Ross. I'm kind of interested to see what he does. I'm not drafting him, but I'm curious to see what happens to him this year. Because we know he got drafted last year. And then, like,
was he drafted or they signed him as a street?
They signed him. They signed him as a free agent guy.
Oh, I mean, like Justin Ross, another one I can call back to my days. He's from the state of Alabama. I believe Phoenix City High School. He was a stud, 5-star prospect. Going to Clemson, just had that terrible, scary injury, and it really derailed him. I mean, he was supposed to be like the guy. I believe when he was on that team with, I think T. Higgins was still there, but like everyone's like, no, Ross is the guy. But it's just, I don't think it's
guys like that usually don't come back.
I mean, that having that scary of like a neck injury, it's tough. Mims from Oklahoma is interesting. I mean, Slayton and James are both still here. If we want to bet on the Giants re-signing one of them, I don't mind it.
I don't think they do. I don't think they get re-signed.
Yeah, and we already took the slot option, so we're betting on Wandell in the slot. So Richie would not be a good pick at all, but I don't mind the Slayton. I mean, Devontae again. We think he's going to be on the Patriots this year. I don't mind that, but surely they'll invest.
Did he get a contract though?
I thought so. I thought when he was traded, he had like 2 or 3 years left with the Dolphins. I don't know though.
He might have 1 year left. He might. I think he signed into a 3. And then Dortch is a free agent right now. Russell Gage is whatever he's doing right now.
Tillman. Tank Dell is someone that he did really good at the Senior Bowl, but he's so small. Like he's Tutu Atwell type, like really shifty, fun player, but he's not for me. Zonovan Knight as a 6th running back. I'm Jerome Ford, who I talked up a little bit, is potentially being Chubb's backup. I like him. I like these two backs right here.
Josh
Um,
Reynolds exists.
this is tough. I mean, it's a lot. And when 20 rounds, it really, really gets
I'm
thin.
more on Kendrick Bourne because I think he's better with Mac Jones. But I think if Dante Parker does play, if he does play, I think that's the guy that does take that first role. He's not doghoused. I just don't think he plays.
I don't think they're gonna keep Kendrick Bourne. Well, I mean, it just depends. I don't think they're keeping Jacoby either, though. He's gonna
No.
sign somewhere else. They're too cheap.
I mean, let's take Parker. He's a deep shot red zone guy. No, Dearness could get. Yeah, that's true.
I
like
think
that.
Dearness is a free agent. That's kind of why I've been on the Ford train, is because I'm pretty sure Dearness and Hunt. Because I think Dearness kind of was a little bit like unhappy this year and kind of made that known.
I wonder if Gus does gets a job somewhere because Gus was pretty good on the Ravens.
So he liked this. Matt Collins. I mean, he had a couple spike weeks.
As a Dolphins fan, I do love him, but no, I don't think that's the guy for me. I did play a lot of him last year, though. Weirdly enough, let's just grab Parker. We'll run with that stack. We'll grab him.
We'll make the bet unless we get sniped, but I like it.
That puts us at 3.593. That's not terrible.
No, especially when we went. We're betting on CMC having a great year. We're hoping Madison, is the starter in Minnesota. We're hoping Chuba's a starter in Carolina. So a lot of bets we're making, but I like it. I mean, when you start with two guys that we're hoping are kind of our anchors, that's good. But yeah, let's break down the team. We got Daniel Jones, Sam Howell, Mack at quarterback. It's something I kind of like doing in this, just going for volume versus taking the elite guys. I like our running back room. What do you think of our wide receivers?
I think our receivers are really strong, and I think once you get to 5, it gets a little tough. I think this team could have been a 3-6-8-3 team, but we kind of went a little bit later.
Yeah.
To get these guys, I think going back, I probably would have dodged Cole Kmet, maybe, or probably dodge Cole Kmet and maybe grab some running back in that tier because pick 118. There's somebody that exists.
Yeah,
I could have built this lineup.
I'm kind of with you on that one. I think Kmet was the one pick I wasn't as in on. But I mean, again, I think he's good though. He had those really good spike weeks, and Fields should be better this year.
So either him or Wandale, I would have swapped on.
Okay.
Because when I buy someone like Daniel Jones, I buy him for the rushing, not for his passing generally. For like, he's going to get this nice stack. I think that we could have grabbed the running back here and gone 3-6-8-3.
Okay.
And I think we would have been a little bit better off. Because I think that pick right there, those two were just the toughest ones.
Yeah, those were tough. I mean, I'm not a big Gallup person, but you had conviction on that, so I'm perfectly happy taking him here.
They paid the guy, and there's no way they cut him, and they already lost enough on that team.
That's fair. I mean, I know Corain was talking a little bit about on one of the shows about potentially just taking guys under contract, how that could be super valuable if you end up with a lot of guys who are just playing this early, because there'll be so many teams that have 3, 4, 5 guys on their roster who end up with no role, and things like that. So I think that's interesting.
I'm not a Gallup guy by any means. I had very minimal of him last year because I didn't like him coming into the season off of those tears, and his body's kind of always broken down on him. But and then like I said, I liked Dalton Schultz so much last year, and I think the end of the season kind of proved our point about Dalton Schultz being that being that second receiving option. But now that he's gone, I think that frees up Gallup a lot.
That's fair. I think we'll end it here for our first one. It was a lot of fun, though. We had about 10 people hanging out. Really appreciate it. We're planning to do this every Thursday night. We're going to do a draft every time. And, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
And hopefully we can mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a different topic each time. And, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.